Notre Dame is now 3-1 as we move on to Week 5, and the Fighting Irish have a very difficult challenge coming up this week as they host Louisville at Notre Dame Stadium. I'm joined, as always, by Tyler James, co-publisher of Inside Indy Sports. Tyler, we just got done chatting with Marcus Freeman. And some pretty big news coming out of today's press conference. Jaden Mickey, a very valuable player of the defensive secondary, has decided to redshirt and then transfer come season's end. So how does this impact the defense?
Yeah, it definitely impacts. He was their third most used cornerback and special teams contributor for sure, a very experienced player. And without him, Notre Dame's left with a couple of freshmen they're going to have to play even more. Leonard Moore and Carson Hobbs are those players. Leonard Moore's played a little bit more than Carson Hobbs so far this season, and Notre Dame really likes what it has in those players, but Notre Dame came into this season with that being a little bit of a, obviously very top-heavy depth chart because we think Benjamin Morrison is very good and Christian Gray as well. But Jaden Mickey wasn't able to win a starting job, but was definitely an important rotational piece to get one of those guys off the field every once in a while. And so now you'll be counting on more freshmen to step up. And best of luck to Jaden Mickey. He's been through a lot, lost his mother the day before the Sun Bowl, and still played in the Sun Bowl, and has had a lot of support within the program, but has decided that he wants to try it somewhere else, and the rules allow him to sit out the rest of the season and maintain a year of eligibility, so that's what he's going to do.
Marcus Freeman did point out he will graduate this spring, so he's going to get a Notre Dame degree. He's just not going to finish his college football career at Notre Dame. And I actually thought that we learned a little bit about Marcus Freeman today in the way he handled that. It would be easy for people to be furious at Jaden for leaving, and I'm sure some people seeing this will be frustrated. That's kind of the nature of college sports, but I thought we learned a little something about the way Freeman handled the announcement.
Yeah, he said, hey, listen, I have an opinion as well of the situation, but the opinion that matters most is Jaden Mickey's, and this is the decision that he wanted to make. He has confidence that Jaden Mickey has thought this through and feels this is best for him, so he's going to support him. He's a player. He said he loves him. He's gone through a lot, and he wants to support his players to make the decisions that they feel are best for them. And so that's something, if you put that in front of a recruit and a recruit's family, they're probably going to like that. Now, certainly, I'm sure the coaching staff might not feel the same way on like a Tuesday and Wednesday practice or on a Saturday when they need a third corner to go in there, but that's the decision that was made, and so they'll move on and make the decisions they need to make in terms of backing him up and replacing him.
You know, another player that Marcus Freeman has been very intent on supporting has been his quarterback, Riley Leonard. We've seen that throughout the year amid some struggles. But he spoke a lot about Leonard today, and I think we also start to get more insight even as to why Marcus Freeman feels so strongly about the way he plays.
Yeah, I think certainly Marcus Freeman doesn't always agree with some of the points that we have or opinions that we have when it comes to Riley Leonard's performance, and certainly the fans who are booing him in the stadium at times. But they like what Riley Leonard can do as a running quarterback, and they're not taking that away out of the evaluation of him. That brings value to not only Riley Leonard as a passer, but it brings value to the running game as well, because he's another option that teams have to account for when you have some good running backs in the backfield as well. Certainly, he thought the deep passing game was better this past game, and I would agree with him there. I think it was better. I mean, it certainly wasn't extremely dynamic, but they had obviously the touchdown pass to Bo Collins. The pass interference penalties might get overlooked. Those came on some deep balls. So those are important throws that Riley Leonard's making, and the decision to make them is just as important as the accuracy when he throws them. And so they're continuing to expand there. I think it's been a slower process than probably many would have liked to have happened, but they're seeing those incremental steps and hoping that it pays off in the end with Riley Leonard.
I think one thing we can agree on is that you're not going to beat a team the caliber of Louisville, which is in the top 20, very aggressive defensively, without a guy like Leonard being good both with his legs and his arm, and they're going to need to see that this week. It's something that Eric Hansen and I are going to be discussing this week on WSBT 22. Another thing we learned today is that Cooper Flanagan's a little bit dinged up, the tight end, so the Irish will be without him this Saturday. He's not a starter, but he is a guy who's seen some good time this year.
Yeah, he plays a lot, and I think he played at least 26 offensive snaps in every game prior to this past Saturday, and only played, I think, 4 with the ankle injury. And so Notre Dame will move on with leaning more heavily on Mitchell Evans and Eli Raridon. Evans is starting to look like the Evans that we got to know last year pretty well before his knee injury. Raridon was a guy that's had some knee injuries in his career, but he's been healthy this season. So they'll lean even more heavily on them. Jack Larson would be the next guy in line as a third tight end. I'm not sure that they'll use him as much as they would have used their third tight end with the 3 that have been playing, but we'll see when Cooper can get back. But at least moving forward, it'll be heavy doses of Mitchell Evans and Eli Raiden, and both are very capable players, so they should be all right.
And then the other big question, which may be answered by the time that this taped video gets posted, it's Irish Wear Green week. So are the Irish wearing green? Marcus Freeman says he's going to let the captains decide that today, if it hasn't, in fact, already been decided.
Well, if they decide to wear green, I hope you make us wearing green shirts in this video when you
we'll watch this out.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. I would guess that they will, but we'll find out. But maybe I'll look stupid and they won't. But they certainly have not worn green on Irish Wear Green days, but it's been trending in that direction. I'm sure there's some sort of presentation that will be made online to let us know what the decision is.
Certainly there will be, and more importantly than what the color actually is, this has kind of become a game and an event that the fans rally around. This is a really big game for Notre Dame. I mean, how important do you think the atmosphere is in the stadium on Saturday, and how big of a litmus test is this for this program as you project out towards what will be the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think it's a very big game. The atmosphere is going to be interesting because if Notre Dame starts out slow, as we've seen in recent weeks, the fans aren't going to be too patient with that. So that would not be necessarily in Notre Dame's favor. So I think it's even more important for Notre Dame to start fast and have a good starting first drive with the offense, particularly. But yeah, the atmosphere should be something that benefits Notre Dame. And Louisville comes in knowing it can beat Notre Dame. Did so last year. Notre Dame should have a little bit of revenge in mind, but has enough to worry about on its own rather than just its opponent. So I think it's a really big test for Notre Dame. We'll get a sense of, like, is this a team that's worth thinking about for the playoff moving forward, or is this? I think if they lose, they're probably out of the playoff run. So it's a big game going forward for Notre Dame.
No doubt about it, and certainly one that if it goes well, could propel them into a strong second half. I think we'll know a lot more about this team, 7 days from now.
Yeah, I think so. I think this Louisville defense is going to be the type of defense that Notre Dame wasn't able to beat with consistency last year. You have plenty of questions going into this game if Notre Dame's offense is capable of doing that, but that's why you hired Mike Denbrock, why you brought in Riley Leonard, and those acquisitions this offseason are going to be put to the test on Saturday.
All right, he's Tyler James, co-publisher of Inside ND Sports. Notre Dame takes on Louisville at 3:30 this Saturday. They may or may not be wearing green, but if you're going, you probably should.